Okay, so here we are, Railroad Barons, not to be confused with Rail Baron. And I'm on the operating round, first operating round, whatever sequence we are in here. Since the last time, both players have two corporations now. So, running Marley and Scrooge and Cratchit. Cratchit, how do you get included in there? Anyway, I ran it for the 230 that it produces without moving anything around or whatever, and swallowed the money. And that just means the stock doesn't go up. It doesn't set it back or anything like that. Slightly different game from most of the XXs that I'm used to. So now we go next to the Seedy Brothers, and then Avarice, and then this Desmond Pickable. Gotta love these names. But anyway, they're always in that order. I think I've expressed that up before. Can't buy a train. Full up. Actually, I could buy one, and it would discard one. Maybe I want to do that, because I have one position left. I think I'm going to do that, and I think I'm going to crash all the two trains rather than let the black player, this other player, get what he can have going to him. So I will spend $300 on one of these cheaper 4 trains of Type D. Now these don't make as much money as the later ones, which are coming right up, nor, but that's the way life is sometimes. At least I have a longer lasting train, and I do some damage to my opponent. So that will rust all those trains, and I'll pull them out. Seedy Brothers also swallows. They made 160, 170, 180, 190 bucks. Turned in, but it doesn't cost them 300. It cost them 270 because of their discount. And now we go to the next and new company. And for $800, they're going to buy a $300 4 train and a $500 5 train. Do they really want that, or do they just want to spend 6? See, the 5 train's permanent. I think it's permanent. Yeah, 5 train is permanent. I think just to reduce total expenditure, they want to make sure they have a permanent train. They don't get to run, they don't get to go forward. They had 2 train purchases, they hold 2 trains. They could move one of these over. That doesn't seem like a bad idea at this point in the game, to tell you the truth. So they're going to place one there, thereby increasing their track, so they'll run for a little bit more on the next operating round. And again, they don't pay out either, because they didn't have a train. And now we'll finally go and look at the Desmond Pickable and see what they can do. So this railway plays 1 token to grab him, then plays another token to buy a train, and they only have to pay $450 for it. Oh, sorry, $400 for it. Wow, wait a minute. They may buy 2 trains then. If they spend $800 minus 160, I think I cheated on the last one, minus 160, let me see, 800 minus 160 puts them at 640, right? They had 700, so they have 60 left. They're going to do that. They're going to buy the 2 trains. I like that better as a principle, and it means that I can shift trains over onto Seedy Brothers on the next run, and keep Desmond Pickable down as a lower valued, less important railway. And it'll be a feeder, essentially. So, again, they don't go forward. Now I've got better trains on there, Yes, I have one that's going to be destroyed, but I think that's okay, given the nature of this guy's holdings. And I think this guy is tremendously valuable. I think the $65 was probably a steal, comparatively. This guy is also very valuable. This guy I think is garbage. He went for less. And this guy, so-so, could be useful. Okay, so that's the end of the first operating round. We go to the second. So in the second round, Marley, Scooch, and Cratchit moved another marker over. I don't know why they have so many on the rails. It doesn't really make a difference. They don't have a good use for them. You can only move one of these per turn. And now they're making 120 around at 90%. That would be 90. And 90% of 20 is 18, so that should be $108, which means that I screwed up in terms of how much I gave out. But yeah, that's what's going to go. More importantly, the share price went up. That's his goal. He wants to just shoot his share price up. He's got 90% of this sucker. He's going to use this guy to collect capital to buy trains for his companies. Okay, and now for CD Brothers. He also paid out, and I don't remember what he made. It was a decent amount. 160, 280, 290, 30 a share. Does that make sense? 120, 200, 280. No, 280 and 30, 310, 320 a share. He only has 60%, so that's 192, something like that. I don't know. I calculated it out, and then I got confused as to whether I'd moved this forward, and I had. Okay. Now he has the option to buy another train, and he doesn't have a lot of money on hand. But you know what? He doesn't need a lot. He'll buy one from over here. And I think he'll buy the big one. So his plan here is to actually swallow with this sucker, which can produce a lot of money, especially with that 40 per turn bonus, and then reverse feed over into Desmond Pickle. Desmond Pickle will be his attempt to gain share value. Granted, it's not in the perfect positions, but it's easier than shifting everything around. And the stock track is fairly linear, not quite. It starts jumping at the very top. He's going to grant that the other player is going to get that. That may be a mistake, but he's probably going to lose some ground on there no matter what he does, especially if he's shifting stocks. So this seems like the best move for him. He also has this card, which he thinks is going to get him another the fifth company, so his third company. He thinks he's going to be able to swing that one way or another. And over here on Avarice, he's already got a token over there. He's got a problem. He can't move. He used one of the tokens up here to grab the investor, and then he swallowed for $260. 240 plus 20 for the trust. So this is what he's used. He's got an extra token. You'd want to put it here, get the extra $10, but it can't happen. He can't afford to drop that token over on track building because he's got 2 trains filled. Might want to buy a train. He's got to put one here. Okay, granted, if he does it after the 4 trains collapse, there's no big deal there. But that's not what he wants to do. He wants to be the guy who buys the next permanent train. And he needs to keep a token out of track building for that. Now we're going to move over finally to Desmond Pickable. And Desmond Pickable just paid out, which produced a grand total of $120, half of which goes to the owner. So the owner got $60, and that's it. That's the end of that pair of operating rounds. So we lose a card, and ooh, we're up to a 6 train. This is a $600 and it's going to kill the 3 trains. That's an interesting card. Now, we're on the stock round, so I'm going to move this over here to remind me. This guy's got to decide, can I start a company? And doing so, he might want to sell a share, he might not. He's got to think about this. Given that he's going to be swallowing, dropping down to 50% might not be bad, but that drops his share value if he does that. So that's going to be a hard call, and I got to think about that. Both players neither player started the new corporation. Both players didn't have quite enough money without selling stuff. Second player bought the last 10% of Marley, Scrooge, and Cratchit. Remember, he's just going to run that for share value. Wants that to be his way of collecting his own capital. So that was $120, a pretty good outlay, and he had less money actually on hand. The first player, the Seedy Brothers guy, didn't want to buy Seedy Brothers. He knows he's planning on swallowing with that. So he bought a 30% share of Desmond Pickable, and that cost him $240. And now he doesn't really have enough for anything else. 10, 20, 30, about $40 left. Nothing's that low. Nothing can be that low. Oh yeah, you can sell stock and drop it. Okay. I was wondering why the stock track goes below 60, because 60 really is the lowest that anything starts at. I think it's very unlikely that a player is going to dump stock, but it's possible. I could see people playing in such a way that they're taking risks where they're just asking to get something dumped on them. In a 2-player game, that's probably idiotic. I can't imagine skilled players allowing it to happen, but you never know. All right, so we go to the stock round again, or the operating round again, and I'm going to zip this one up and send it up to you. I know I'm doing a lot of detail on this, but I think it's kind of interesting, and the only way I can show the game is to almost show everything. Otherwise, there's no track to look at, nothing really to look at. There's just the actions. So maybe I'm going into too much detail, but it's really either this or I just come back and say, here's what happened. And here's what I think of it. Which I'm certainly going to do. I just kind of want to show something about the game.